my name is Mackenzie, and today we're going to be doing an interval workout. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we don't need any equipment today, so we're just going to start with a quick warm-up with 3 rounds of 20 seconds of 3 exercises. So our first exercise is going to be burpees. So these, I don't care how pretty they look, I just want you to get on the ground and get back up again. So ideally, you hop your feet out, chest touches the ground, jump at the top. If you want to, you can step down, step up. It's up to you. You don't have to do a push up at the bottom. You don't have to. You can just fall down on the ground. Or if you can't, if that's just a little bit too much for you today, no worries. You can just step back, step up, tiptoes, or any combination thereof. So that's going to be our first movement. We're going to do that for 20 seconds. Our second movement is going to be lunges. So what that's going to look like is we're going to step out. We want our knee to stay over the ankle. We don't want it coming forward. We want to stay nice 90-degree angle. Chest nice and tall at the back, at the top, and step up. And you can either do forward lunges, so that means stepping forward, or you can do backwards lunges, stepping backwards. It's up to you. For a modification for that, we can just do a little half lunge. So instead of going knee all the way to the ground, you can just come slight bend in the knee and back up. Slight bend in the knee, back up. And our last movement is going to be a Superman. So what that is, we'll be on the ground, arms extended in front of us, feet behind us, and we're just holding. We're trying to keep tension in our glutes and lower back, just kind of awakening those muscles. For modifications, you can pull the arms in, or just one arm or the other, just to make that a little, just so you're not holding as much weight out in front of you. So those are our 3 warm-up movements. We're going to go through them 3 times each for 20 seconds. And let's get going. We'll get going with burpees in 3, 2, 1. We just want to get our heart rate going before we start our movements for the day. And we're switching to lunges, either backwards or forwards. It is up to you. I'm going to go sideways for these. Just want to make sure that our core is staying nice and tight, so our chest is tall. We don't want to be falling over at the bottom. 5 more seconds, then we're going to Superman and Superman. And here, we're just holding. Remember to breathe. We just got our heart rate up with those burpees and those lunges. So now while we're activating these muscles, we want to make sure that we're breathing. And back to burpees in 3, 2, 1. And lunges. Really focus on using your glutes on this front leg to push yourselves up. Think of it as that this glute is our big mover. And Superman. Again, modification, bring those arms in a little bit, maybe not come up so high. Or if you feel like pushing yourselves a little bit, go up for the full height, arms fully extended. And back to burpees for our last round in 3, 2, 1. And lunges. If you've been doing forward lunges, maybe switch it up for this last round. Go backwards. and Superman. Ten more seconds. You should feel pretty warm at this point, so we can get into some mobility. And rest. So now I'm just going to take us through a few stretches to try to get some mobility, just helping with our range of movement, range of motion. So our first one is going to be a runner's lunge. So that's going to be leg out in front of you, knee 90 degrees, hands inside the knee, and we want to try to keep our back leg as straight. You should feel this in the hip area. Just take it for a few circles one way, then a few circles the other way. And then you can go back into the plank and switch legs. We'll just be doing this for about a minute at your own pace, just alternating through those runner lunges on both sides, just opening up our hips a little bit. If you want, you can drop the back knee and come up into a Samson just to get a little bit deeper into that hip, and then back down, back to the runner's lunge. Also, if you want, you can throw in some rotations here. So then the arm that is on the same side as the knee, just going to reach up to the sky and back down. Do that on both sides. Let's do one more each side, and then we'll go into our next movement. Our next movement, we're going to work a little bit on those shoulders, so we're going to go downward dog to plank. So you can start in the plank, shoulders away from the ears, body nice and straight, in a nice straight line. Then we're going to send the hips back and try to get into that downward dog position. You can pedal the feet out, get into those calves, spend a few seconds here, and then go back into the plank. Hold it for a few seconds again. We're going to be activating those abs a little bit, then using the abs to send the hips back, pedal out the feet, and back down. Just get a couple more in, moving at your own pace. Let's do one more. Our next movement is going to be a knee hug into a side lunge. So what we're going to do is pull the knee, keep the toe nice and flexed, pull the knee up towards the chest, and then take it out wide, send the hips back, and back up. So just like our normal lunges, we want to make sure that our knee is not going in front of our toe. So when we do the knee hug and go out, we want to make sure that we're sending the hips back, that we're not just dropping down. We want to send the hips back and get back up. So let's do about 4 each side. Another key point for these is we're trying to keep our chest tall. We don't want to be getting down super low, but just scrunching our back like that. We want to stay up nice and tall as we go through these movements. And take these at your own pace. If you want to go faster than I'm going, go for it. If you want to take it a little bit slower, maybe work a little bit more in the inner thigh stretch, go for it. This is all about priming your body for our movements. Let's do one more each side. Our next movement, we're going to prime our abs a little bit more, as well as our core. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in what is called the hollow hold position. So what this is, we're going to have our lower back press into the ground. Then we're gonna raise our arms above our head, bring the feet off the ground. So the only thing that should be on the ground right now is your butt and your lower back. And you should have enough tension in your body that if someone were to come by and push your legs, your whole body would rock forward because it's just like a board. You're just one board. So if someone pushed on your legs, your whole body would move. So that's our first part of the movement. So we're gonna go from our hollow hold, and we're gonna keep that tension in our body and roll over into a Superman. And then we're gonna hold this for a few seconds and roll right back into our hollow hold. And make sure you're alternating which way you're rolling, so we don't want to just roll one way the entire time. So this time I'm gonna roll this way. Hold for a few seconds and roll back. And if you want to modify this, what you can do is you can bring the arms in and bring the feet in on the hollow hold, or you can leave one leg out or the other. And then the modification for the Superman that we went over, pulling those arms in. So let's do one more roll each side. And roll. And roll back. Good. So now feel free to grab some water. And I'll go through our movements for our first block. So our first block is going to be 5 rounds of 4 movements, and we'll be doing each movement for 30 seconds, followed by a 15-second rest. So our first movement in that block is going to be skaters, something to get our heart pounding a little bit. So what you're going to do, it's all about landing softly. So you're going to hop from one leg to the other, land nice and softly, and then hop back. Really focusing on absorbing that motion. If you want to add a little bit more, you can try to hop up as high as you can and catch yourself. Or when you catch yourself, you can come down and touch the ground if you want to add a little bit more of a squat in. So that's going to be our first movement. And again, you can take that as fast as you want or as slow as you want, just making sure that when we're landing nice and controlled, landing on the toe, landing on the ball of our foot, and then going to the heel. And then our next movement is going to be an alternating wide push-up. So what that means is we'll be in the push-up position, but one arm is going to be out a little bit wider. So this arm that is in close is going to be doing a tricep push-up, meaning that the elbow is going to shave the ribs and back up. Whereas this arm that is out wide will be doing a wide push-up. So what that's going to look like is we're going to be here, go down, bring this arm in, and switch. So we'll do that for 30 seconds. For a modification, we can bring it down to our knees. So keeping one arm in, one out, down to the knees, and rotate. Switch. So that is our modification for that. Our next movement is going to be plank jacks. So we're in the plank position, shoulders away from the ears, body in a nice straight line, and we're just going to hop our feet out and in while keeping our hips low. For a modification, you can just step your foot out and back in. And our final movement is going to be that hollow hold that we practice in our mobility warm-up. So, again, keeping our lower back and glutes on the ground. That should be the only thing touching the ground. You can either have your arms straight overhead, knees out, or you can bring the arms in, one leg in, the other, or both. Just make sure if you're bringing one knee in for one round, that the next round you're switching the knee that is in. And so those are 4 movements. And again, it's going to be 5 rounds of each movement. We're starting with skaters, then our alternating wide push-up, plank jacks, and hollow hold. We'll do each movement for 30 seconds, get a 15-second rest, and then go on to the next one. So we pull up our timer. So we're starting with skaters in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And think, when you're landing on this foot, think about pushing the knee out. We don't want it to be falling in. We want it to be landing nice and strong the way a knee is supposed to move. A knee is not supposed to come in. It's supposed to stay out. 3 seconds left. Then we have our push-ups. Okay, we got a 15-second rest here. I'm getting a little warm. I don't know about you, but then we're gonna get into our push-ups. And 3, 2, 1. Another modification that I forgot to mention, if you feel like from your knees is a little bit too easy, go down on your feet and then go up on your knees, just making sure that we're resetting to the full plank at the start of each round. And rest. Our next movement are going to be those plank jacks. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Making sure we're keeping our hips nice and low. That we're breathing through the movement. Halfway. Ten seconds left, so you can pick it up a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Now we're going on to our hollow hold. Feel free, if you need, you can grab a blanket, anything to cushion beneath your yoga mat. It's up to you. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. Halfway, if you need to. Remember, you can bend one knee or the other. You can bring your arms in, bring your legs in. We just want to make sure that we're maintaining tension the entire time. 3, 2, 1. 15 seconds, and we're back to the top. So that was our first round. Kind of gauge how that went for you. If you think you can go faster, go faster. Just remember, we do have 4 more rounds. So we're starting with skaters in 3, 2, 1. Over halfway. And rest. Our next movement, going back to those push-ups. If you find that these are getting more difficult the more rounds we go, don't be afraid to modify them. We want to make sure that we're still moving. And push-ups. Halfway. And rest. Next movement is going to be plank jacks. Make sure you're breathing during this rest, so you're really utilizing this whole time. Catch your breath back so you can go hard once we get to the movement. And plank jacks. 10 seconds left. Keep pushing through this. And 3, 2, 1. And do our hollow hold. So this block is meant to be just chipping away. We have a lot of rounds, and we're just going to be chipping away at those rounds. And hollow hold in 3, 2, 1. So if you don't want your arms overhead, you can bring them down to your sides. We just want to find a modification that we can maintain for the entire 30 seconds. Halfway. And 3, 2, 1. Going back to those skaters for the start of round 3. We're almost halfway there. I personally really like these blocks that you're just chipping away. You just got to get in that mindset where it's going to suck, but I'm going to keep going. And we're into skaters. Just remember, you have to keep going. That's how you get to the end of this workout. And 4 seconds left. And rest. Back to those push-ups now. Feel free during any of these breaks. Grab some water, stay hydrated. And push-ups in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. Find that modification where you can keep moving at a consistent pace. And it doesn't necessarily have to be my pace. It can be faster, slower, whatever you want to do. Rest. Next movement is those plank jacks. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. Make sure that your hips aren't coming up in this movement. We want to keep them nice and low, still in the plank position. Ten seconds left. 3, 2, 1. And our last movement, the hollow holds. We are over halfway done with this block now. And prepare in 3, 2, 1. The mosquitoes are starting to come out. Oh. Halfway. Keep breathing through these movements. And 3, 2, 1. We only have 2 more rounds left. We've already done 3. What's 2 more? And skaters in 3, 2, 1. One thing I want to mention about the skaters is if you're coming down into the squat, make sure that we're still keeping that chest high. We don't want to be folding over our knee. We want to use those leg muscles to lower ourselves down, not our back. Less than 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1. Rest. We only have to do those 1 more time. Our next movement are those push-ups. In 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds left. And rest. We have plank jacks coming up. Catch your breath here. Open up the chest if you need to. We're going again in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Hollow holds. And then we have only one more round. Going into that hollow hold in 3, 2, 1. It's important to make sure that you're breathing while holding tension. You don't want to hold your breath halfway. You don't want to hold your breath for 30 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're on our last round now. And for this round, I want you to keep in mind the idea that you don't get better by staying comfortable. So I want you to really focus on pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And skaters, so maybe for me, I'm comfortable at this pace, so maybe I'm gonna pick it up a little bit, go a little bit faster, so that tomorrow I can go faster. Halfway. And rest. We want to take this idea of going past our comfort zone through all of these movements in this last round. Really give it your all, because you're not going to have to do any of these movements again. And push-ups in 3, 2, 1. So the idea for comfort for me is with these push-ups, I'm comfortable going down on my feet, up on my knees. So maybe for this last round, I'm going to try to go down and up on my feet. Just try to push myself so I can get just a little bit better. And 5 seconds left. And rest. Only 2 more movements to go. Next movement is going to be plank jacks. If you were stepping in those plank jacks, see if you can push yourself a little bit this round and jump those feet out. And we're going. Even if it's just for a few reps, and then you're stepping again, and then going, that's okay. We just want to push ourselves. Ten seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Now we have our hollow hold. Again, whatever modification you're doing, try to do the next step up. Even if it's just for a few seconds, and then you go back to what you're doing, just try to push yourself. This is the last time we're doing this movement. And go. So for me, I might hold this for 5 seconds, and then bring a knee in for 5 seconds. And then back out for 5. And back down. Back out. And back in for the last 5 seconds. And we're done. That's our first block down. Go ahead, grab some water, and I'll go through the movements for our next block. So our next block, it's only 2 rounds, but we're doing each movement for 45 seconds, followed by 15 seconds of rest. And we have 4 movements. So our first movement is going to be a plank to pike, just doing a little bit of shoulder work. I'm gonna grab a blanket just to make it a little bit softer on my elbows. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be on our forearms. We wanna make sure that our elbows are under our shoulders and that our forearms are about shoulder width apart. We're gonna start in the plank position, so body in one straight line, ears away, shoulders away from the ears. Then we're gonna use our core to pull the hips up into a pike, and then slowly lower ourselves down. So this will be a bit of shoulder and ab work in one, just moving slow and controlled through these 2 positions. For a modification, you can go from your knees for those movements. Our next movement, we're going to be up on our feet. It's going to be a sumo squat. So normally for a regular squat, we have our feet about shoulder distance apart. But for the sumo, we're going to take it about an extra foot's width, or a foot's width wider on each side. Point the toes out, and we want to really push our knees out wide. It's very easy for us to bring our knees in when we go down. We want to make sure we're pushing them out, sinking the hips straight down and back up. Just like our regular squat, we want to keep our core nice and tight and use our glutes to send ourselves back up. For a modification for that, we can just do a little quarter squat, so not going down as far. And then we're going back down into the plank position because we're going to do some pike push-ups. So this time you'll be on your hands in the pike position. We want to try to keep our hips above our shoulders, and we're going to bring the elbows back, lower the head down, and push up. Trying to stay tight in that position. If you want modification, you can lower the knees a little bit less weight. You can lower them to the ground. We just want to make sure on those push-ups that we're pushing back rather than just up. We want to push back. And our final movement, get the heart up again. We're going to be doing jumping jacks. So hands above the head, feet up, and back down. Modification is just stepping out here, one side to the other. So those are our 4 movements. We have the plank to pike, our sumo squat, our pike push-ups, and our jumping jacks. We're going to go through each movement 2 times, around 2 times. Then we have 45 seconds of work, followed by 15 seconds of rest. So starting with those plank to pike in 5 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. So nice and controlled. Again, if you want to modify it, you can go from your knees and up. And just like on the other movements, you can go at my pace, you can go faster, you can go slower. We just want to make sure that our movement is nice and controlled. 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. 15 seconds rest, and we're going into the sumo squat. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1. Again, really focusing on getting those knees out. That's really about activating those glutes. If you want to add a little bit extra, at the top you can come up onto your toes. Get a little calf raise in this as well. "15 seconds left. Three, two, one. Our next movement is those pike push-ups. So with these, we just want to make sure that we're moving nice and controlled. So this movement just gets into the shoulder a little bit more than a push-up. But if you need to, feel free. You can do push-ups here. We're still getting that pushing motion that we want. So feel free to modify into a push-up modify from the knees. And you can lift up, go down, knees, up. 30 seconds left. And now our last movement, jumping jacks. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. We want to stay on the balls of our feet during this movement. We don't want our heels to be dropping. That's just putting too much force on our knees. We want to use our quads and our calves to absorb the force of our landing. Halfway. It's 10 seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. 15 seconds. We just have one more round. We only have to do each movement one more time. So think back, how did this round go? What can you maybe push back, push yourselves a little bit more? What do you maybe need to scale back so that we move continuously for the entire time? And those pike to plank. "15 seconds left. If you're on your knees, maybe try to go up for these last 10 seconds. Again, push yourself past your comfort zone. And rest. Next movement is going to be sumo squats. And we're going in 3, 2, 1. We want to keep our core engaged. That's what helps us keep a nice flat back. If we engage the core, you can't bend your back when your core is on. It's trying to keep a nice flat back. We have 15 seconds left. Maybe try to push yourself, go a little bit faster or a little bit deeper in your squat. And 3, 2, 1. Pike push-ups. So for these, maybe every third pike push-up, you're trying the harder modification. And we're going. Halfway. Five seconds left. And rest. Last movement, jumping jacks. Try to see if you can go a little bit faster this round. We only have one more block left after this. And jumping jacks. If you want an extra challenge, you can do star jacks. So what that is, you're jumping your hands, your arms up, feet out at the same time. Like that. Maybe you do a few jumping jacks, star jack, or all star jacks. 5 seconds left. Maybe star jacks for the last 5 seconds. 2, 1. Rest. Okay, we just have one more block left. So we have a double Tabata. So this means the Tabata means that we're doing 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest. And normally that's just 8 rounds, but we're gonna double it for our last block. So that means it's 16 rounds. So you can think of it as 16 rounds of 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest, or because we're doing 4 movements, you can think of it as we're going through each movement 4 times. So our first movement, we're gonna get the heart rate up again. We're gonna be doing squat jumps. So the thing to keep in mind with squat jumps, it's the same form as our normal squats. We just want to make sure that we're using these big muscles in our legs to control our movement. So we don't want to be slamming down from the jump. We want to land nice and softly. So what that looks like, feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly out. We're going to send the knees out, the hips back, come down, and spring up. And then we want to land as softly as possible. So we can use our landing to send us right into our next jump. Our next movement is going to be a side plank, whatever side you want, because we will be switching. So with the side plank, we want to imagine that there's 2 planes of glass, one in front of us, one behind us. So we're trying to keep our shoulders over the elbow and then our body in line. We don't want to have the hips forward or backwards. We want to stay in one line. And a few modifications, you can put the knee down. You can have one foot in front of the other, or you can stack the feet. Our next movement is going to be jump ups. So we're going to be in the plank position, just hopping our feet up. We want to try to have our feet flat on the ground and back. So up and back. Modification for this, you can step up, step back, step up, step back. Just make sure that you're alternating which foot you step up with. And then our last movement is just going to be a side plank on the other side. So again, it's going to be 4 rounds of each movement, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. This is going to be our last push for this workout, so we want to give it our all. It should be all out because it's just a short time interval. So grab some water if you need it. We're going to start with those squat jumps in 3, 2, 1. Halfway. and rest. See, it wasn't too bad. Just 20 seconds, so that means we can go at our max capacity for those 10 seconds. And we're side planking, 20 seconds. Ten seconds left. And 3, 2, 1, rest. Next movement is going to be those jump ups. Now we're going in 3, 2, 1. Ten seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. Then we're going to be doing side plank on our left side. And side plank. We want to try to make sure this hip is as high as we can get it. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was one time through. We have 3 more to go. And we're squat jumping. We want to remember in these squat jumps that we're not falling forward. We want to keep our chest nice and tall. And 3, 2, 1. We're going into those side planks next. In 3, 2, 1. Ten seconds left. Make sure we're getting those hips to the sky. And 3, 2, 1. Going with those jump ups. In 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Side plank. Other side. And 3, 2, 1. Ten seconds left. 3, 2, 1. We're halfway done. Starting with those squat jumps. In 3, 2, 1. And just like our regular squats, we want to make sure our knees are going out, they're not falling in when we're taking off or landing. And 3, 2, 1. Side plank. In 3, 2, 1. Really use these side planks as an opportunity to get your breath back. 5 seconds left. And rest. Going into those jump ups. In 3, 2, 1. Five seconds left. Rest. side plank. And up. Ten seconds left. And 3, 2, 1. We're on our last round. Remember what we said in the first block? We need to push ourselves past our comfort zone. And we're starting squat jumps. Maybe sink a little bit deeper, jump a little bit higher. Just anything to make yourself a little bit better. 5 seconds left. And rest. And side plank in 3, 2, 1. Maybe this time challenge yourself. Add in some hip dips. So we're not resting our hip on the ground. We're just lowering it nice and controlled. And back up. Really focus on those obliques to get those hips back up. And rest. We have less than 1 minute of work left. Jump ups in 3, 2, 1. Less than 10 seconds. Maybe pick up the speed. 3, 2, 1. Last movement. If you did hip dips on the other side, try to do them on this side as well. And we're up. Halfway. Three, 2, 1. Rest. Nice job. Thank you so much for joining me for this workout. My name's Mackenzie, and you just finished an interval workout. Nice work. Get some water. Make sure you get a good stretch in because you put in some good work today. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next Wednesday.